My name is Corporal Joe Verhaeg. I'm with the RCMP. Project CARE's task force investigating the unsolved murders of women involved in the sex trade.
He went silent and cold, and right away I knew I was in danger.
What we do is we collect personal information. It's to assist the police with missing persons investigations, and in the tragic event something should happen, to identify human remains.
So I was a prostitute when I was 18, and I used to stand right here, and I used to pull dates. My dates used to pull up right here and pick me up. Watch, there's a needle there. Watch, you don't step on it, please.
How are you?
And your first name again?
Leanne.
Okay, Leanne.
Every time I stood on the corner, I thought this could be it.
All it takes is one bad date. They're getting abused on a daily basis out here.
I think most of the society doesn't know what goes on out in the parts that we see.
They get it from every angle. The Johns, the other girls, the pimps, the dealers.
Nobody ever sees the person. They just see the prostitute.
It's really, really hard when you don't feel like you belong in this world.
It's almost like nobody's on their side, right?
I wanted to know what the world in street prostitution is like after the Picton case, and it felt to me that everybody was just relieved and thought, no, we've caught the bad guy, and now we can just go back to normal lives and everything is fine and dandy. And I live downtown, so the area where street prostitutes work is 2-3 blocks over where I live, and I often pass them, and especially in Edmonton, then at -30, and you see them standing out there, it really breaks your heart. But like anybody else, I was complacent there too, and I just walked by. And until I came to this point to say to myself, I would like to know these women. I would like to know what their lives are about. And and this is how it started. Another reason is that Edmonton, after Vancouver, is one of the epicenters for murdered and missing women, and I wanted to look into it. So why is that? At the same time, we have Project CARE. So Alberta has been the first province to install this special investigation unit with the RCMP that looks specifically into the cases of the murdered and missing women. And this was created as a response to the failures of RCMP and the city police in Vancouver. And so I approached them with them to use the Project CARE and tours with the Project CARE to give the viewer an understanding of the streets and the danger out there and the threat these women are under, and to combine this with very personal, intimate stories of these women. Well, you have to spend, in order to get access, first you have to spend quite some time in this neighborhood and be really careful and don't go over there and say, okay, and what's your story? So this wouldn't work. So you have to be very respectful. One should go in there without any preconceptions. These women, there's something unpredictable could happen any moment around them, and so they're always under threat. So they are very, very sensitive, and they see through you, and they see through your lies and pretense. So you have to really want to make this firm and be honest and care for these women, otherwise they will not talk to you. I gave Courtney this camera because she's an amazingly smart woman, and she's street smart too, and after a short period of time she had exactly figured out what kind of lines she could feed me, what I wanted to hear. And yeah, that's nice, but I think that viewers can sense this if the material you use in the film is not really authentic. I think we can sense that. And for that reason, I decided that in the case of Courtney, it would be better to free her from the team and myself, and to give her the chance and to introduce us to her world and her thinking. And one of the other reasons we did that too is there's drama in Courtney's life all the time. And and I just couldn't keep up with it anymore. So I thought, okay, you record it, and so on. She got a little course on how to do it, and I think she did a great job. One thing I would like to share with you, because on a short notice we had to go in and take a scene out of the film. And do you remember the scene with Courtney singing the Lady Gaga song? So she has been out there in the community and helping to clean up and do the lawn and so on and so on. And she was really stressed out about it, that everybody would just look at her and think that she's just a prostitute, and that she wouldn't be accepted, and everything worked out just fine. And she was on a total high that day. So she switched on her flip camera and she turned on the radio, and there was this song by Lady Gaga, I Was Born That Way, which is very, very fitting. And while she was washing the dishes, she was singing to this song. And we found that it was really powerful. And that day, another filming she did was that she was sitting down and she said, "Hey people, if you want me to help you, I can help you, it's easy." And so she talks about how really down on the dumps she was, and even melting the snow from the bottom of her boots and so on. And you don't have to suffer, and all of this. So it's a really beautiful, powerful scene. And we tried to get permission from Lady Gaga, and we had to wait for a really long time until she got back to us. And yes, we are allowed to use this footage, but she wants a license fee of 50,000, which is then usually matched by the recording company, or another 50,000. And this is something with a low budget documentary we did there. This is something we cannot afford. So it broke our hearts, but well, so much to the social conscience of superstars maybe, but we had to take the scene out. The most challenging thing in making this film was to deal with my emotions after I've been out there with the RCMP for 8 to 10 hours. They're really nice guys, and but for the very first time I did understand that there are really hundreds of women out there. So this is a hidden world. These women were sometimes sharing their stories with the police officers, and horrendous stories of abuse. And then at the same time, if you are out there and you have your microphone in, and you hear again and again this line, we would like to get your DNA so that in the tragic event of a homicide, we are able to identify your human remains. And if you hear this all night, so this makes you really angry. And I didn't know how to deal with this anger sometimes. So I grabbed my dog, and I was running around in the woods and yelling at the trees and kicking them. So yeah, and I told my husband he should just be careful around me for a while. The most rewarding part, I think, is that I was allowed in this world, and that these women were willing to share their stories with me, and I hope that I will treat it with a lot of respect. Another thing that was really rewarding is, so I did this film, I'm a producer too, but I did this film with the National Film Board of Canada really on purpose, because I didn't want to give anybody the feeling that I'm out there and that I'm exploiting the women, that I have a commercial interest in making this film. I just wanted to make it the best film possible. And I've never had a team that was so dedicated, so I could call them in the middle of the night and they would just jump out of bed to be part of this filming. And they were all very, very respectful, and the women were so dedicated to nearly tear out their hearts to tell their stories, because they want to see change. And when I showed the material to my editor, we both agreed that the footage we had was just amazingly powerful and very, very touching, and the only people who could screw it up was us. And when this was done, and when we had a first pre-screening, and people reacted the way we were hoping they would react, I went home and the next morning, and I had a big grin in my face, and even the next day I was just smiling. And after that, I think I've never been so exhausted in my whole life, so there was a lot of pressure. I was pretty useless for quite a while. I hope, also there are many things I would like to achieve with this film. Certainly, first and for all, when people see this film, I hope I can touch their hearts. And I hope that I can touch their conscience, and that they maybe for the very first time are willing to see the people behind the shadows they see there on the street. And these women have to deal with a lot of misconceptions, and it goes so far that people go by and throw pennies at them or spit at them. And one of the women there on the streets told me that a car drove by and she was out that day in a beautiful white dress, and she was very proud of this dress. And this car stopped, and there was a man and a woman in the car, and the woman leaned back so that the guy could throw some Kool-Aid at her. So this is the one level, so that I would like to appeal to our conscience and our compassion, and so that these things do not happen anymore, and we understand that these women are really vulnerable and need our support and our protection. And there are programs out there in other countries to protect street prostitutes a bit better than we do a job here. And another reason why I made this film is that I hope that people will take it to policymakers, and that finally changes will happen in legislation that will protect these women more.
I'm still up from having paranoia all night, thinking somebody was gonna come in my house and kill me. But look at this beautiful pink, orange, blue sunrise. It's just absolutely amazing. The clouds, the scenery, it's just beautiful.